Hello there, everyone, and welcome to episode 22. Ian Parks here, and I'm here with Mauricio Suarez as always. Okay, so last session we got to talk about scale, and we had talked about previous episodes, easy to use, easy to buy, easy to sell. Focused our attention last time on easy to implement, easy to adopt, easy to scale. Got through some really good stuff, I think, around implementation, adoption, and we started talking about scale. And I think, Maurizio, you actually went into an analogy around scale that really led us into this conversation today. And we're going to break this conversation up into two parts. First part of it is scaling as the customer. Second part of it is understanding how to help customers scale as the product owner. So let's go from the top on this one and where you finished us up last time, which was this kind of analogy around running, but using that analogy to really describe scale within the customer. So take us away.
Yeah, I guess thanks, Ian. I guess I'll mix this. I'll do like part analogy and part like sort of personal experience. Um, so in the last episode we talked about that there are like different kinds of runners, of course. You got the sprinters, you got the marathon runners, you got the trail runners, you have the ultra marathon runners, you have Spartan races, the what's the other, the one where you swim, you bike, and then you run.
Well,
I can't remember the name.
I do know the answer to this, but I'm not going to profess to be any good at it. So triathlon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
uh, Triathlon athletes. So there are different kinds of athletes in the running, biking, swimming world, and that got me thinking. That's in my mind a little bit similar to like adopting a new product. I mean, you start. Let's say you're a sprinter, and then you want to venture into long distance running. You start with a 5K, then 10K, then half marathon, and do make stupid decisions like me of signing up to New York. Um, and I think that works very similarly to the way how clients start implementing different products or different S curves within a company. And that got me thinking, back in the day when I was at HubSpot. I joined HubSpot, like post IPO, but it was just a marketing platform, right? It was already a platform. They had progressed from, the tools and just this, point solution to an entire platform, but it was just marketing. Um, and then the CRM came out, and then Service Hub came out, and then Ops Hub came out, and now you have I think it's Customer Hub and a bunch of different products, so a bunch of different S curves that if you're a business, then oh cool, I can use this product for marketing. It has multiple S curves as well because I mean you have the free version, you have starter, you have pro, you have enterprise. So like as you start getting better uh, in running, you start getting faster, you start needing different type
Yeah.
of food, of training, and it's similar to the way you adopt um, solutions, right? You might start with the free product if your solution has a free product or a free version. I mean, um, and then
Yeah.
scale into it with the same team, and then you bring in more users, you bring in more teams to the core product, and then that company starts launching additional products, additional S curves, add-ons, and more products, more hubs in HubSpot's case. And in Salesforce case, it's typically via acquisitions. It's so the way you scale usage and scale your product as a client, and I said this in the last episode, is, you know, and similar to running, actually, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. The
Yeah.
slower you run, the faster you will run. It's like run slow to run fast. I know it sounds stupid, but run slow to run fast. Uh, Similar to implementing a product, you should implement it right, do the right things, follow the process, then the implementation process, follow the adoption process, respect the stages.
Yeah.
And as you do that, you're going to be able to scale not just one product or, you know, one point solution, but multiple within your company.
Well, I think the way you use the analogy is really helpful. And actually, it's like there's some fascinating stuff that comes out of that for me. It's like, and I guess I suppose it's a couple of things really. One is adaptability. Like, yes, there's a modular approach that can be taken for, you know, some of the bigger products that are out there that have become almost like this kind of one-stop shop for things. But I think there's also something to be said about the fact that like a single product can be used flexibly. So, you know, let's go back to these different types of runners. You've got your sprinters, you've got your long distance runners, you've got your triathletes. Well, they're pretty much using the same tools. You know, they're using their bodies to be able to you know, to get around. And I think there's a very similar thing to be said about the product itself. Like, you can use a single tool in many different ways. And, you know, we think about this in, you know, in terms of this podcast, it's about product, it's about sales, it's about marketing. Well, you know, from a product perspective, if you can build in flexibility to the way that that product is used so that it can be used and imagined in different ways by different people, then it becomes way more scalable anyway, because actually the team that brings this in the first place, if they use it to their maximum effect and they're using it with someone else that looks at it and goes, hang on a minute, I get how they're using it, but our needs are slightly different, but we can still get the most out of that product, then that aids scalability. So adaptability aids scalability. And I think the other fascinating thing is, you know, it's that run at the pace of the slowest runner, not run at the pace of the fastest runner. And, you know, I know you go through like a running group and you're part of that club. And I'm sure there have been those moments where actually that has really held true, because, you know, that collective experience of actually being able to get the most out of something is not always about just charging off ahead of the pack. Actually, more often than not, it's about being in the pack and taking people along with you. And like, let's go perhaps from running. No, we can still use running. I was going to go to the Tour de France because, you know, naturally we've just finished that and I've been watching lots of it. And there is no better example for me of the peloton wins together, really. You know, it's like you cannot win that race without the peloton. Like, it's very rare that there is a break at the start of a stage and that person is still ahead at the end of the stage. Like, the most exciting stages are the ones that finish the closest at the end and have been reliant on everyone doing their bit. But you can only do your bit if everyone is together. And naturally, at that point, the peloton probably relies on, okay, it might not be the very slowest, but it will be reliant on the bulk of the capability rather than the capabilities of a Pocaccia who, you know, is just superhuman. And I think, you know, for me, that resonates back into whether it's scale or use of a product, or, you know, just how you adopt a product into a business in the first place, is everyone has to be able to use it to an impactful degree. Some people need to be able to use it with specialisms that might be way beyond the needs of the rest of the business, but, you know, that's the niche part of it. So it's like, you want to scale the bit that everyone can use. You want that to be adapted so that people can use it in different ways depending on what, well, in the analogy, what type of runner they are, but in the business, what function they're performing.
Or even if you're the same type of runner. I mean, you mentioned the club. There's this lady, she's 76 years old, and she does, you know, she's still going through the motions of
Yeah.
doing the same training that everybody else is doing, regardless if some people do it faster than her, right? She's still doing, the strength training, and just today we had fartlek, so
Yeah.
she did fartlek, of course, at her
Horrible.
own pace. Horrible, I know.
Yeah.
But there's even this guy. So this guy is an ultra runner, and this dude didn't had no rest for like an hour and a half, and he started earlier and ended later.
Yeah.
And he still did his
version of
way of doing the fartlek,
yeah.
his version of fartlek. And there are different types of shoes and stuff and you have the bag, and there's a bunch of different add-ons and things that you can add, but the essence of it is the same thing, like running, period.
Well,
and it's similar to technology in my case, or in this case.
And I was going to say, at this point, let's flip the switch a little bit. So like scaling from one side, that customer side, brilliant. Lean into adaptability, lean into those different functions. In the last few minutes of today's episode, why don't we just have a quick chat about what it means from the product side? So, the SaaS company, whatever product it is, you've got to be able to help with scaling. And for us, and I think, we've talked about this a lot, that's two things: understanding usage of those customers and understanding like where they're getting the most out of things and where they might not be, noticing that those things are there, and also those leading indicators of retention. We are not going to cover this entire subject today, so I'm just thinking like, let's use this as an opportunity to like think about the core things that we want to chat about, because I think let's talk about that entire usage and leading indicators of retention next time. But maybe Mauricio, you can wrap us up in a couple of minutes on like, why is tracking that usage important for scaling on the as a product to the customer, and also what should we be thinking about in terms of leading indicators of retention? Why are they important for next time we talk on the podcast?
I'll follow the same analogy. Like, tracking your customers' usage is like your team of coaches and team of doctors tracking you as an athlete. It's like, if I'm the coach and these athletes are not coming to my class, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe they got injured, or maybe they're just not seeing the value.
Yeah.
So typically, and I urge every single business to track leading indicators of retention, because it has a direct correlation to value. And if once you get under the hood and you see, it's like, what's going on? It's like, maybe they're running less this week. They haven't been as consistent. Are they? Is it a motivation thing? Is it a value thing? Is it, a physical thing? Maybe they got injured. Maybe they, in the implementation phase and the adoption phase, maybe they didn't integrate the solution with their data set or whatever. And then the data is not translating the way they have to. And now they're frustrated and they feel that it's the product's fault. Let me walk into that and let me see what's going on.
Yeah.
That is maybe similar to an injury. So in this case, leading indicators of retention to me, because product market fit, a bunch of businesses and a bunch of VCs, unfortunately, tie a product market fit directly to how many clients you sell to and how much revenue you generate. That cannot be farther from the truth. Product market fit is a direct correlation where it's all about retention.
Yeah.
But retention is a lagging indicator. So that's why leading indicators are so important, because you don't want to wait a year to measure your product market fit.
Well,
so we can talk about that in next episode.
Episode 23, be there or be square. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.